Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Thompson, your host of Pear Tree Sports, and I'm here today with Caruthersville Tiger head football coach, Doug Guglielmo.
Hey, I'm excited to be here, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. We're going to start off a little bit in your earlier years. When, at around what age, did you start to really take an interest in football?
I think I played for this guy. His name was Paul Bracockley. He was my 8th grade football coach. And 7th grade I didn't play a ton. And 8th grade I earned my way as a starter, and he kind of helped me fall in love with the game of football. So ever since then it's been just football.
I definitely understand that. And with your playing career, what is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret? I bet if I could do it all over again, it wouldn't be playing, it wouldn't be anything. I'd probably take better care of my body. We had so many resources, both high school and college, that I could have really been a lot healthier with getting banged up and all of that. I bet if I could go back, that's the one real thing that I would change. And you always hear when you get older, you get the aches and pains and the squeaky knees, and I'm like, that's never going to happen to me. Well, shoot. At 31, aches and pains and squeaky knees, it is. So that'd be it, really.
And you talked about your 7th and 8th grade coach. What is the biggest takeaway you took away from him or a previous coach?
I think he was hard on us, but he always found a way to turn something into a lesson. Like, if you quit now, quitting becomes a habit. It's a chain reaction. Take the weight room seriously. His saying that's painted on the walls of my alma mater's weight room is, strength builds confidence, confidence builds champions. And it sounds like a weightlifting coach or a weightlifting quote, but it ends up being more mental strength, physical strength, emotional strength, and it kind of helps you win over the long haul.
What is your favorite part now, not being a player, but being a coach?
Oh boy. I think it's you score a touchdown in the game and everybody's getting excited. Even all the kids are jumping up and down excited. It's I like the grind. I like watching the film. I like watching film, breaking down film, drawing stuff up on napkins at a restaurant. That's the fun stuff. You're thinking of football at a different level. And not more of a complex level, I don't think, but more of a holistic level. So what can you do with this kid? Hey, how can we get this kid involved? This kid can do this. Shoot, our fullback now used to play offensive line for us, and we're like, we can run a fullback package with him because he fits this dynamic of fullback. So then we started running with a fullback, and there were power, counter, all that. So it's that constantly thinking about what can we do better? What can we do here? What can we do there? I think is the most fun part.
And I remember when I was out here coaching, my buddy Seth, who played left tackle for us, he had some experience at pretty much every position on the field. He was wide receiver, quarterback, tight end, anywhere you name it. I remember being in Spanish class and drawing up, we were supposed to be writing answers on the whiteboard. I'm drawing up left tackle slip screens and this and that. And it really becomes your life at a certain point. And there's some real hard parts about coaching. What to you is the hardest part?
For me, early, it was finding a work-life balance, because football is really easy to slip into it's 24/7. But that lifestyle burns people out. It makes people fall out of love with coaching. I think really the hardest part is there's some times when you've got kids that are so close, and your job really is to put the best 11 on the field. Like when it all boils down to it, you're teaching life lessons, you're getting the kids ready, you're building a program and all of that. But you have to put the best 11 out there. And sometimes you're sitting there like, I got this kid, and this kid. And I have this spot that they all really fit in. Who's going to pan out the best? And I think for me, that's the stuff that keeps me looking at the depth chart and the whiteboard is, I've got great football minds around me. Joe's a great football coach. Grant Marshall's a great football coach. Zach's a great football coach, and of course Coach Tree's a great football coach. So we're always going to have X's and O's conversations no matter what. There's always different ideals and stuff. But when it really boils down to it, sometimes you have kids that are so close or you have 13 kids that can really play football,
Yeah.
but you have to fit. You can only put 11 out there. It's who do you put out there in what situation for me?
And you've been a college coach before.
Yeah.
What made you want to come down to high school again?
The college life's got a lot of different things to it. You've got recruiting. I mean, you're on the road for months at a time, traveling all over, visiting 5, 6 high schools a day. That kind of wears on you a lot. Then you've got a whole host, like each level's got its complications, but the college complications are a little different. So COVID hits and our season gets canceled, and I think that really kind of brought me to like almost a crossroad where it's like, I want to stay in the game, but do I want to stay in the college game or the high school game? And then you hear God kind of has a plan for you. One day I woke up and I was like, you know what, I want to be a high school football coach. So then I turned my focus from coaching college football to high school football. And I think it was the best decision I ever made. I love being a high school football coach.
And you came in after a really rough, chaotic year for Caruthersville Tiger football. What to you was the most difficult part about kind of rebuilding the program?
Well, we're blessed here with we have a ton of athletic potential walking our halls. So I think the hardest part really was getting the kids to kind of believe again and buy back in. I mean, you get COVID, then you have turnover and all that kind of stuff, and that fire kind of dampens, but the pilot light's still there. You just kind of got to turn the heat on. So it was almost like when I first got here, I reintroducing some of the kids that kind of backed away from football to this is what football is going to be, and having them help shape the vision of it going forward. Because you still have that crew of kids like the Ryan Guests and all those guys, like they're the kids that played through all the adversity, and those seniors that had seen. I was their 4th head coach in 4 years, like getting them to see that the stuff that we're doing now will pay off in 2 seasons or will pay off next season. Yeah. So we ended up bolstering that roster up a little bit and having a pretty decent year. We're playing a bunch of freshmen, sophomore. But I think now that things are starting to swing back to getting to the point where we're looking at putting a year on a banner maybe type of a thing, our mindset started to switch. And all those kids that stuck through it the last couple of years, and those seniors that poured their hearts out for us that last season they were with us my first year, they're starting to see that all that hard work is starting to really come to fruition. So the hardest part really was trying to just make them see that we can do it. Yeah. I mean, it's been rough, but we'll get back there. We just got to put the work in, and they really have. Yeah. They really have.
Even as a coach during that rough, chaotic 2022 season, it was disheartening for me. Just as a coach, I can't imagine being a senior and feeling like your season was really ruined, you know. So what made Caruthersville the right place for you? Was it the athletes? Was it the rebuild? What was it?
I'll be honest. I was sitting at my desk, and then I saw the job pop up, and we lived up in Paducah for 4 years growing up, so I was young, but my dad kind of knew the area. He was stationed out of Cape Girardeau at the time. And I kind of was like, Dad, you know anything about this place? He goes, yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good football school, blah, blah. And Mr. Gerling can write one heck of a job post. I mean, he can. And they said, well, you're going to have to rebuild and bring, the culture's already set, the winning ways are already set, but you're going to have to get all this, and this. And I think the thing that excited me was, it's not just we can call it a rebuild, but it wasn't really a rebuild because the foundation's already set. I mean, you walk in the field house, you have a 10,000 square foot field house for a Class 2 school, and we're sitting in the locker room right now. We have a better locker room than some small colleges do. Yeah. So the foundation was set, the support was there, the kids were walking the halls, everything. They just needed to be brought back into the fold. So I think the part that really intrigued me about the job was, you go into a rebuild sometimes, you're looking at a school that hasn't won games in 10, 15, 16 years, and you're like, oh boy, we're going to have to rebuild culture here. I mean, you have a good football culture when you have 3 bad years in a row, and it's like, oh boy, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like you had the COVID years, you're like, oh, what is this? This is not what we're used to. So the foundation was really just there. You just had to build on it.
So you describe it as more of a retool, not a rebuild.
Yeah.
So Caruthersville obviously has some outstanding athletes, but we are known for a bit of behavioral issues. What do you do as a coach that kind of keeps kids in place?
And you say, and you're an alumni from here, and I've been here for 3 years and a month now. We have this reputation. The Caruthersville's got but if you look at all the things that happen, it's really not the kids in the building.
Yeah.
I mean, kids in the building, they're going to try to get away with anything. They're going to see white, black, and gray line. They're going to skirt that gray all the way down. I mean, that's just what kids do. Like, I still do that. I'm 31.
Yeah.
But it's almost a stigma. And they're like, oh, the Caruthersville kids are here. But our kids aren't bad. We have this locker room, there are 46 lockers filled in here right now. There's not one bad kid in this room. But we also have to fight the stigma of the Caruthersville kids are this, and this.
Yeah.
And that's where it really boils down. So we do a lot. I mean, we've already done 273 hours of community service this summer. We have the youth camp. We're doing the food pantry here in a couple of weeks. So we're just really, to kind of beat that stigma of Caruthersville being the bad kids, we're just going to kill them with kindness and do what we need to do. Our kids don't. I mean, we did a 7-on-7. Our kids aren't talking trash. They're having fun. They're laughing. They're doing community service. They're getting involved with the youth. They're getting involved in the community. I mean, we're just going to do us and let the stigma lie, but we're going to try to break it by doing what we need to do to show people that every kid in Caruthersville is really just down-home good kid.
So you mentioned the food pantry, the community service hours, the youth camp. Is that something you're just doing to rewrite the narrative, or are you doing that because you are passionate about it?
I believe in that. I mean, you have to have a youth camp. Those are the kids that are going to be playing on our field one day.
Yeah.
What's 3 hours with them? It's free. It's free for them. I don't want to charge for that. We want those kids here. We want those kids to be coached by the guys who are going to be cheering for on Friday nights. Like, the kids look up at like Ridge McGraw, who started for me. This will be his 3rd year. He started every game since his freshman year. They're going to see him on the field next year. That's the guy that coached me in camp. They get to see how they kind of interact. It really binds the community or the school community together just with a camp. I mean, I think every school should have a youth camp, and unless I have to, I refuse to charge for it. The food pantry, I mean, we have a need in this community. So last year, the food pantry reached out to Mr. Gerling, and Mr. Gerling sent me the email saying, hey, do you want to do this? I'm like, yep. So this year, I reached out to her, and she goes, we don't have a grant yet, but do you want to do one? I'm like, yeah. And we don't do it because we're football.
Yeah.
Like, we don't even wear jerseys or anything. They wear street clothes, and we're just out there as a team doing it. We don't market as a football team's hosting this. It's just, we're just doing something good. When we have kids go help move people into their houses, I mean, yeah, they call me because they know I have a bunch of kids here that will do it, but we're not tagging football to everything.
Yeah.
Not everything that we do, and I hope this answers your question, not everything that we do has a football twist to it. You just have to do what's right. We raise a ton of money in the community with the Lift-A-Thon every year. All of our kids are provided warm-ups and food and socks, and if a kid has a need, we can help them with it and all that kind of stuff. The community does that for us. So the least that we can do is have the old business storm, the corporate social responsibility, the CSR, but the football social responsibility. I mean, these kids have the ability to bridge a gap between groups of people just by playing on Friday nights. Why can't they contribute to the community in the same breath?
So you seem very passionate about kids' needs, kids' wants, just all about the kids. I know a lot of kids personally who are without father figures in this area. When you get a kid like that in the locker room, is it more important to you to be a father figure or a coach or both?
We're going to provide that's a tough question. So we're going to provide an environment that they're going to get the figures that they need out of their life, and they're going to learn how to mentor other kids too. And you can't step in and be a kid's dad. I mean, it's a tough situation. But you can provide him an outlet. You can teach him lessons. Shoot, we teach kids how to shave. I have a box of reusable. We'll teach kids how to shave and whatever, and change a tire if we need to. Blah blah blah. But we want to foster an environment that they can grow in. So regardless of their background, whether they have a dual parent household or they're a foster kid or they have a single parent household or whatever situation they may be, we want to have a locker room and a team and a football family that they can thrive in regardless of their background. And you know what? The lessons that they learn, whether they're have the picture, which there's no such thing, the picture perfect white picket fence house, or the exact opposite. The lessons that they learn here, we hope that one day when they spend a couple years in the program, they can help the kid that's in their situation. I mean, you should see these kids going, hey, coach, this kid really needs a pair of shoes. I have 13. Can you give it to him and tell him that someone donated it? Yeah. Hey, coach, this kid he just doesn't have, he needs like deodorant. I'm like, okay, well, just take a couple sticks and throw it in his locker. You know where they're at. Like, you foster that environment of them caring about each other. And then they start caring about each other. It's like, hey, this kid's down. Okay, well, now you know that he's down. Why don't you go talk to him so they don't have to hear from me?
Yeah.
So you foster a family environment. So you cover all the bases just by having an environment in which kids can grow, and they can grow the environment themselves and leave it better than they found it.
And you host game nights on some Friday nights. Why do you do that?
Oh, that's purely because I want our kids with us on Friday nights. I mean, it's an expense for us. Like, we raise that money, and an average game night will cost us about $300-400 just in food. We'll buy them food. We bought ping pong stuff. We have a bunch of TVs. I'm working on getting a PS5 right now, actually. And they come with their own video games. And they hang out from 7 to 11, and we're kicking them out at the end. But at least on that night, I know they're with us. They have food. They're hanging out. It's team bonding. So it kind of fits a bunch of stuff together. It's actually turned into, when I first started, they're like, I don't want to go to this. That's dumb. To now they're like, Coach, we haven't had a game night in like 4 weeks. I'm like, boys, football season now. Yeah. You're already together every day. Like, you should be tired on Friday nights. But it's really grown from me begging kids to come to now we actually have game nights with multiple sports. So we'll have like open game nights where volleyball and cheer end up. We use the gym and volleyball and cheer, and we'll just buy a ton of pizza or burgers, or a lot of times the fire department and the police station will grill the burgers for the kids, and they'll just go in there and have fun and play volleyball and cornhole and ping pong, and you'll have 50, 60, 70 kids in there just building that camaraderie up. So it started as almost let's not have them out on Friday nights running around, to they really enjoy being around each other in that environment. So it's kind of grown into something that I wasn't expecting, but I'm happy it did.
Yeah. So did you always have this idea, or was it fostered because of the high crime rate in the area?
Well, I actually got the idea from this coach. His name is Bill Sisma. He was the head football coach at Frankfort High School in Philadelphia. Now, we think we have problems in our area. I mean, he buries athletes. Like, he goes to athletes' funerals. And God willing, I've never had it. And I hope that I never have to. It's like my biggest fear. So he started game night to literally save his kids' lives. And so I kind of took that idea, curtailed a little bit, because we have better facilities than Frankfort has. And I kind of really started with his base of getting the kids together, getting food donations, letting them play video games, and then it just took off. And then I kind of let the football program kind of customize it the way that they wanted it to be. Yeah. So the initial idea came from Coach Bill. Where it is now is they kind of made it, Coach, can we do this? Hey, can we do this? Can you get this? And I'm always like, I'll find a way. So we'll get it. If you want it and you'll be there, we'll get it. And now what we do is they go out and mess around the football field for their first hour. They come in, they eat, they pound water and Gatorade, and then they play video games till the end. And then we're kicking them out, like, please leave. Yeah. Like, now it's late. Like, time to go.
So a tagline in the community that you personally have really ran with, up on the wall behind us, it's not fully in frame, it says, "We ride as one." Why is building that kind of culture with the community and with the different sports teams really valuable to you?
I mean, you just look at the boys' teams. Look at the big ones. I mean, golf, they were all football players that were Caruthersville kids. Baseball, I would say about 80% of Joey's roster is football kids. 87%, I think I figured out, of the basketball team are football kids. So there you go. Track, almost exclusively football kids on the boys team. And then you look at the girls' sports. We're all sharing kids. We all have to be on the same team. Myself, Joe, Lamont, Coach Treese, and Miss Dunsey with track, we all have to be on the same page. Just like on the girls' side, Miss McGraw, Coach Bracken, all of them, Miss Dunsey, they all have to be on the same page. We share so many kids that we have to be unified in the building. Like, we have to be able to hold the kids accountable. We have to be able to communicate. Like, if this kid's banged up for me in the summer, I'm calling them out and saying, hey, kid X, knee's a little bit swollen, kind of got twisted up a little bit. He goes, all right, then we'll get him iced up in basketball, right? Like, we have to ride as one through that. But then you look in the building. The coaches and yes, we're all teachers, but the coaches and the teachers have to be on the same page. Like, I have to support the teacher, but the teacher has to work with me too, where it's like, okay, hey, coach, I'm not going to write kid A up, but he's acting out. Okay, I'll handle it.
Yeah.
Calm, like, listen. Then you start building that rapport with the teachers. And then once you look at the community, I mean, who's in the stands every day?
Yeah.
Who's filling stands? Who's buying T-shirts? Who's supporting the lift-a-thon? Who's supporting the high school? Who's begging for tickets for graduation? That's a community. I mean, there's a community here of 5,400 people. 3,300 registered voters. That means out of those 5,300 people, there's probably 4,000 adults. We all have to be on the same page. From football working with the community to football working with the boys sports, football working with the girls sports, but the community working with us and the school working with the community, it's kind of an all-encompassing thing. The We Ride as One really started out when I was coaching O-line as, 5 guys riding as one. It's like one single position group. But then you end up with it growing to the point where everybody's kind of pulling together and using the same term. So it's been pretty cool to see how that just 4 words has kind of gave people like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We all need to be on the same page. And it's really taken off. I mean, shoot, they used it on the yearbook cover last year.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to get some royalties out of this, guys, and trademark it. But we wore it on the back of our helmets. I mean, the kids designed the gear and they put it on their gear for this fall.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool, and I think it's important that everybody kind of works together. I can't be against Lamont. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
I can't even be against Miss McGraw because we share the same facility and all of our kids. We all kind of have to really work together. And now we're seeing where the field house is only going football team 35, 40 kids. Now we're seeing over 100 kids a day in the weight room. That's when we're starting to work together and sharing a vision, that's when things start really kicking off. It's been awesome.
So you've been very vocal about your goal since you got here. Restore the roar. What exactly is restoring the roar to you?
If you take a trip, I mean, my first time I got a little bit of money here, I put the banners up. And you hear stories, and a lot of the Hall of Fame stuff and all that really helped me really learn about that deep-rooted tradition. Having Coach Treese on the staff, I mean, Coach Treese has been coaching here for 18 years. There's a swagger that Caruthersville has had and has. And those down years, I think, kids kind of forgot about that. And it wasn't that far off.
Yeah.
I think our last district championship was 2018. I mean, there are teams that never won one. And we have a whole banner full. I think we have 22 of them. So there's a swagger that I think comes with being a Caruthersville athlete, especially a Caruthersville football player. And you have to restore that. And we finally have a swagger about us again where it's not like a cocky swagger, but going from 2-8 to 4-5 to 7-4 and returning 9-10 stars on each side of the ball, that kind of really gets that swagger back.
So, last question for you. What can we expect from the Tigers this football season?
Because you're an alum, I'm not going to give you the standard line that I give everybody else. We're moving fast right now. I think Coach Treese did a really, really good job with our defense. We're flying around. I think you're going to see growth out of the program. And I don't like predicting wins and losses and saying we're going to beat this team, we're going to beat that team, because, any given Friday night, you get caught on the chin, or you catch somebody on the chin, you never know. I think that people will see growth in our program, numbers-wise, but you'll see a lot of us not saying, hey, help them up. You'll see a kid help a kid up just inherently. You'll see kids taking care of themselves inherently. You'll see, instead of celebrating a touchdown for 10 minutes, is, okay, score a touchdown, jump up there, high five, or now we're in PAT field goal and we're back out there on defense. You'll see that programmatic maturity now that the kids that have been the foundation as young bucks the last couple of years are now sophomores, juniors, and seniors. You'll see physical and emotional and talent growth on the field this fall. And I'm really excited to see what these kids can do, because you look on paper, we have a ton of good football players. We're sitting in a room where I think last year we had 39 postseason award winners and 6 academic all-state guys. And you have guys that are getting recruited by the UT Martins and all of them. We have a ton of talent here, and that's great. Very fortunate. But I think real growth is those really talented kids, and the kids that are midway and the kids that are still improving are all kind of working together and growing together and really being about a team, the we over me mentality. It's this t-shirt that I want to get the kids here pretty soon. It says, every decision I make will directly impact my entire team. And that's just a t-shirt, and that's it. Because every decision that one person in here makes is a chain effect to the 40-something other people that are sitting in here. And that's what you'll see, is them understanding that now. And that's growth. Yeah, winning more games every year, competing for conference titles and competing for district titles is important. That comes with having a clean weight room and having a clean locker room and having a clean practice field, and them taking pride in their facilities, them taking pride in themselves and their teammates' successes, and being there when their teammates falter. That's the growth I want to see this year.
Coach Dom, thank you so much for doing this with me today. Come catch it August 30th at the time of recording this, 64 days away, right here at Hopkey Field, the Caruthersville Tiger home opener. Thank you, man.
No problem.